Welcome to Candid Conversation, a discussion of rural and agricultural issues. For those of you that have joined the show before, I'm Tim Thornberry, editor of the Kentucky Farm Bureau News. You are seeing a different site this time. I'm coming to you from my RV, actually. So I guess we can call this camper Candid Conversation now. And of course, we're doing this because of the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak and the fact that we are following rules and practicing social distancing and staying close to home these days. So we appreciate your patience with it. You're going to see a lot of these in the coming weeks, shot right from here where we are. And we just appreciate all of our members and all of our folks out there that are practicing proper protocol as well. Today, our guest is Sharon Furches. She's Kentucky Farm Bureau's second vice president. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me.
How are things where you live?
Well, it's kind of quiet. It's certainly different than our normal day for you and I both, and I suspect for most of our viewers. But thankfully, being so close to the farm and just a couple seconds down the road, so I'm just sort of going from home to the farm and back different times of the day and staying really close to home.
Sharon, speaking of the farm, for folks that may not know, tell me a little bit about your all's farming operation.
Well, I live down in Murray. I was born and raised here, and my husband was as well. So we have a grain farm here. His father started it when he came home from World War II back in 1946. So we've been at it for almost 39 years now. Soon will be, and we live right here on the farm, and it's a great way to live. It's been a great way to raise our family, and we've enjoyed it so much. So one morning, and as all of this first got started, I guess weekend before last, and we were just kind of having our coffee and sitting here at the house early that morning, and I thought, everything that's crazy in so many of the larger cities and stuff, and we just have a lot of green space around us, and it was quiet, and there was hardly a car on the road, and there's a lot to be thankful for in that respect.
I agree with that, Sharon, and I hear that a lot, from different folks that I've talked about. I feel the same way. It's been rather peaceful here. It's good to be home for a while for all the wrong reasons, but we certainly are appreciative of being able to join together and do the right thing, and we're really enjoying it. Farm families are known to be able to work through adversity. If you go back just within the length of our organization, we've seen the ag industry go through world wars and depressions and recessions and a lot of different things over the years. Yet we always prevail. We always, do what we're best at doing, producing our nation's food. Has this caused you to do anything differently on the farm in your day-to-day operations there?
Well, it's springtime, and we're getting ready to start planting corn. We've got some canola in the ground right now and wheat in the ground. And as far as the farm piece of it goes, we're more concerned about the weather right now than we are the virus. But it's we know that it's impacting the trucking situation and the elevators. We're still hauling crop from last year, and it's certainly impacting that. Our guys are still working, but they have to stay in their trucks when they get to the elevator and that type of thing. We have 4 or 5, that have been working out in the shop, and it's not difficult to keep your social distance when they're out there working. But as far as that piece of it goes, we're just gearing up for a planting season. And it's been very wet right now, so we're hopefully waiting for it to dry out. It will again. Whether the virus was here or not, we'd be doing the same things weather-wise and worrying about that aspect of it as we've always done. But it will dry out. We will get a crop in the ground. We always have. And we'll look forward to that going on business as usual as far as the farm is concerned.
Sharon, I've heard the word essential a lot lately when we've heard about the businesses and industries that are deemed essential to keep operating. And of course, agriculture is one. You and I and folks that are in the industry, we've always known that we're essential. But talk to me, if you would, for a minute about the importance of the farm, especially during a time like this.
Well, it's kind of puffed us up, hasn't it? We're like, we've known we were essential this whole time, and now everyone else sees it. So that's kind of been a blessing in disguise. And in these times, I guess we're looking for every kind of silver lining we can get. So, but it does just, I think, reinforce to people all across the country, certainly not just farm families, because like you said, we have always known it, but the other folks who have raced to the grocery store and wondered if they would have enough food or where their food was coming from and if it was safe. Those are not issues that we have had to worry about for a long, long time. And we are so blessed in that respect. But the nation's farmers are still hard at it and will be. We're not quitting. We're not going to not plant a crop just because of a virus out there. We're still working hard, and we know we can produce enough food for this country and for other countries as well. We have a huge export market, and that's again just another wonderful blessing that we have. So it's exciting in some ways, I guess, for the rest of the country and the rest of the world, even to see how capable we are in agriculture in this country. And we certainly are a steady group. We're a consistent group, and we persevere no matter what the situation around us. A lot of folks have had family issues, business issues. Now we've got a coronavirus. Who would have ever thought about that? But we're just going to keep farming. That's what we do, and we raise food for the rest of the world.
You know, Sharon, fear can do a lot of things to people. Hoard toilet paper and Clorox and things like that. I happened to be in the store the other day and just picking up a few things, and a fellow from the meat department brought out some ground beef, and it was like a pack of piranhas around it. I mean, you'd think that they'd never seen a hamburger. It was like gold to them, and I sort of chuckled at first, and then I really sort of felt sorry for them because, number one, either they don't know, they're not listening to some of the news that we have out there. Have you found yourself your advocacy hat that you put on? Have you found that you're talking to neighbors and people you know, or people maybe that are removed from the farm, and trying to explain to them, hey, we're going to produce this food. We're going to take care of you.
Sure. And one of the biggest avenues I think that we've had lately has been social media. And that's both a blessing and a curse. You know, there's a lot of information out there that is not accurate, but especially I think with this week being National Ag Week, we've kind of been thrown into turmoil. We're used to going into schools and reading books and, being at grocery stores and a variety of things. So all of our normal activities around National Ag Week have had to be retooled. But we've certainly been able to do that. I've seen a lot of information out there from Kentucky Farm Bureau's volunteer leaders across the state showing us that they can read the ag books virtually and all those types of things. And it's been so important, I think, to put that word out to our friends and neighbors, but even to a wider audience across the country. It's amazing when you think about the scope of people that Kentucky Farm Bureau has an impact with. And you just take you and I and the friends that we may have on social media, and before you know it, we have reached thousands and thousands of people. Every time one of those messages is shared, I think it's a win for Kentucky agriculture and for agriculture across this country. So that's really been a positive thing about it, and it's let us talk about it. I remember a long time ago, probably 20 years, I was doing a little radio program here in Murray, and one of the ladies that was helping with the interview said, "I don't think agriculture really touches me." And I said, "Well, do you eat? You enjoy 3 meals a day, don't you?" And so we had a nice chuckle about that, and that is certainly agricultural as well. And not too long ago, I ran into her somewhere again, and she told me she had never forgot that statement and that it had made an impact on her, and something just as simple as having 3 meals a day. And for a change, we're actually getting to do that the last couple of weeks here around the kitchen table, which doesn't really happen at my house anymore, and it doesn't in a lot of homes. across the country, but we're having to stay at home. That's again, I'm going to choose to see that as a blessing, and we're eating at the table. I'm certainly cooking more than I've been able to in the last couple of years, probably. So that's a blessing in disguise, and certainly we have the resources to do that because of agriculture in this state and country.
As you've been saying, agriculture has gotten a real spotlight on them suddenly, and as well as, of course, our dedicated medical professionals and our first responders and the folks that are distributing, our truck drivers across the country. Some of those jobs maybe that the general public sort of took for granted, they're in the spotlight right now. We don't want this situation to continue any longer than it really has to, but it has brought a renewed attention. Do you think maybe that will continue afterwards, or hopefully people won't forget? What do you think?
I hope it will, Tim. And to be honest, I think every one of us is under a spotlight, and it really, now we have the opportunity to decide what we're going to do with that. We can use it for either good or evil. So we can, there are a lot of folks under the spotlight that are not being very productive with the information that's going out. But I think we have the chance in agriculture to really put ourselves in a good light and make sure that others see that as well. So I hope that's what we'll do. I think that's what we do already. I think we're used to that. I hope we enjoy telling our story even louder and to a larger audience as this moves forward. And again, we're going to be doing the same kind of things that we've been doing. And you and I know, and most of our viewers know, frankly, that farmers and folks that are involved in agribusinesses are a good, steady group of people. They're just salt of the earth people. And I think it's really important in the world that we live in today, but certainly when we're in a time of crisis, whatever that is, and right now it happens to be a medical crisis, but it's really comforting to people to know that there are folks like that among them. And I hope we continue to be that. I hope we just keep telling our good, steady story to our friends and neighbors and to everyone who will listen, and that we turn out to be some of the group of the folks who have had a very positive impact on this country during a time of crisis.
Sharon, you mentioned family, and Farm Bureau has always been like a family to us, and people that are members of the organization, I think they know how that is. They're out there in their communities, and they're leaders. They're involved where they live, and we've begun to see folks delivering meals and doing all these different things in the communities where they live. That really makes a difference, in each county, that there are such dedicated people out there that are willing to help. And, they could easily stay in and say, this is what I've been told to do, but they're out there doing all that they can for their neighbors. That's a good feeling too, isn't it?
It is. It sure is. And even with our own family, we've all had to get creative, and how I know you have a new grandchild, and we have to kind of stay away and distance ourselves for our protection and their protection as well. But we can FaceTime and we can text each other and send funny pictures and those kinds of things. And we can do that kind of thing with our families and neighbors as well. So my mom lives here in the county, but I haven't seen her now in a couple of weeks. We've kept in touch with phone calls, and I do know that my grandchildren are FaceTiming her as well, and it totally lights up her day. Just some human interaction, even if it does have to be through the screen. But it's so important to check on friends and neighbors, and all of us have had good days and bad days throughout this, and we'll continue to. It gets, if you're at the farm office or if you're at home and just the same old stuff on television, and it gets depressing. And it's very important to try to reach out to some folks right now. In Murray today, the weather is absolutely gorgeous. Yesterday was as well. And it's amazing what the sunshine does to your state of mind. So it's important to try to get outside in your own yard and, do a little work, get active in some way. And I think that's really important. And I've seen a lot of folks say that they've had some little parades. There are some young children, who have missed birthday parties and various things. And teachers have really found creative ways to stay in touch with their students. And that's just that just shows the kind of things that this country is capable of. We've been in tragic situations and in stressful situations before, but and even in Farm Bureau, we've had good times and bad times, but gosh, we've got 100 years of experience with this behind us in this organization, and we are going to move forward. This is a bump in the road, but we are doing exactly what Kentucky Farm Bureau members do.
I'm getting off the subject here a little bit. You were talking about getting outside. I've been walking more, which I need to do, but it's been so pretty the last couple of days. And I've noticed a lot of folks, around me are doing the same thing. By the way, if you hear a noise in the background, it's my neighbor across the road cutting his grass. I think he's done it 3 times this week.
That's right.
But I think he's just enjoying the weather. And
even mowing the yard sounds like fun these days, doesn't it?
Yes, I did it the other day, and I tell you, it was the most fun I've ever had mowing the grass.
That's right. I understand.
With all that said, Sharon, what words of encouragement would you give folks out there right now that either on the farm or off the farm that are feeling stressed over this situation? What would you say to them?
Well, I think back to the beginning of Kentucky Farm Bureau and maybe even the beginning of my own farm here in when my father-in-law came home from World War II, and what a terrible, stressful time that was. And you think this organization started back in 1919. That was not a really happy time in the future, in the past of our country. And we have been here for this length of time. We've always persevered. We've done what we're very capable of doing and producing food and fiber for this country. And I think it's important to really stay true to the values that you hold as an individual and that your family holds. I know it's been hard on a lot of us not to be with our church families, not to be with our Kentucky Farm Bureau families, not to be with our own kids and grandkids and parents and the folks that we have around us. But again, we have to be thankful for what we do have and try to find creative ways to connect with them on every level. And it's, you said you were getting out and walking more, and strangely, I am cooking much more, which is way better than fast food, of course. And even my cooking is, but that's a plus, and that's just a really good thing. That's a gift, really, that's been given to me over the last couple of weeks to dig in and see what's in the freezer and take advantage of some of those. I've seen some friends to share online that they're baking bread, and they haven't done that in months or years, and just find some kind of an outlet. And if you can do that, when you do that, if you can share that with somebody, I think that is a very positive for you as an individual, but also for the person receiving it. So, and if you need to reach out to a friend, if you're having a particularly down day or something, and all of us do, every one of us do, especially in a time like this, then reach out. There's absolutely no shame in that whatsoever. That's something that affects everyone. And certainly reach out to some of your Farm Bureau friends or friends and neighbors, that live close to you, and just say, I need to have a conversation. I need some one-on-one interaction with somebody. So that's a real important thing to do. And we need to be there for others, I think, when they do reach out to us.
We are certainly a collective family, whether we know it or not. And it's been, if anything has been good from this, it's been so good to connect with folks. And and let them know how much we care and to hear how much they care about us.
I know, that's
it's a really
true.
good feeling, and I hope that part doesn't go away.
Oh, I know. And I really I can just imagine when we all get back in the state office together again, Tim, I really miss seeing all of you all on a daily basis. It's when I'm there, I miss my family back in Murray, but I know I'm going to be home, in just a few days and be able to see them and to be with them personally. But I really do miss my Farm Bureau family. I miss the meetings that we go to. That's a crazy thing to say, but I really miss that one-on-one interaction. We're a wonderfully strong organization, and a lot of people have reached out to us on the executive committee and to folks in leadership and told us that they're praying for us, and they know there have been a lot of difficult decisions to be made and that type of thing. But it's that's so important to let people know that you care and then to show them that you care as well.
Very blessed we are, Sharon.
We are.
Yeah. Listen, Sharon, I appreciate it so much, and we appreciate those that are watching this now and staying close to home. Our guest once again has been Sharon Furches. She is Kentucky Farm Bureau's second vice president. And we ask that if you folks have seen some of our podcasts, our shows before, we ask that you continue to do that and go out on our social media platforms and YouTube and look at all the information that we have out there. We certainly are pleased to be here, and we will do this from the camper as long as we need to do it. So thanks so much, and we look forward to seeing you all the next time on Candid Conversation.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Sharon.